the beginning of a new week, Mentees, and it is time for your advanced look at the Fantastic Four by Jonathan Hickman Omnibus Volume 2. This is the latest printing, so I'll be comparing it to the original printing and then talking about this particular omnibus. So, stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. Before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us an advanced copy of this omnibus. This omnibus is due out in the direct market and the book market on April 12th. And speaking of direct market, that's what we're looking at here. This is the cover to the direct market. On the left-hand side is the cover to the standard edition, as well as the difference in the spines. On the direct market version, you have the Thing, and here to the left is the Human Torch. So, this is what the new spines look like. Now let's focus back on just one of the covers. So here we have the new cover, because the first printing only had one cover. The new design to the spine, because the original printing had this design right there. And then the back of the book. Pretty much identical except the font that they're using. The original printing used this harder to read font than this one here that is brighter and bolder. And the only other thing I will say is for those of you that didn't get the original printing, well, damn, you saved yourself $25 because the original printing was $125. The new printing was $100. So we'll just keep that on the down low. Now let's go back and check out the other differences. The other, of course, difference is underneath the dust jacket, we now have art on board. So this is when they were trying to get away from that fake leather look, so they started doing just these basic colors. But this is what it looked like. You know, it's different. It's different than the black that they were using. But that's the basic design, whereas on the new design, we have the standard edition cover here. Interesting that they went with black instead of blue for the spine. And then a close-up of the direct market cover. But we are going to be doing a comparison to what it looks like on the inside. The only other thing I wanted to do is to get them close enough to look at the thickness of the paper. Sometimes, you know, books been out of print for so long that they use different type of paper. And they did use different type of paper back then. But honestly, just looking at them, and it might be the angle, they look identical as far as the thickness. But yeah, I'll do a closer comparison here in a little bit. Let's crack this open, talk about these amazing stories in here, and how it wraps up the Jonathan Hickman era of Fantastic Four. Alright, let's get this opened. And as you saw, this has had a previous printing in omnibus format. This has come out in trade paperbacks, complete collections. So it's been accessible for a long time, and of course digitally. But this is the first time that we've had reprints of those classic omnis. Here are all your credits. The writer, pretty much just Jonathan Hickman, and all the different talent that he worked with as far as colorists, the letterers, and of course inkers and pencilers. Some of the pencilers are just breakdowns sometimes, and then there's finishers, and where it all starts out with Future Foundation. This is Collecting Future Foundation, so that's just known as FF, 6-23, and then the Fantastic Four. When it went back to the legacy number 600 to 611, and it also includes the 605.1 issue. The book has 832 pages, and again, retails for $100, this particular printing of it. So we kick it off with some Greg Ticini artwork here. I believe Paul Mounts does the colors, and this is the payoff for everything that Jonathan Hickman has been building in the pages of the Fantastic Four. Since we were introduced to this idea of the Council of Reeds, this multiverse, where everything is going, the relationships just between the Kree, Empire, Earth, all these different aliens, the Inhumans, everything pays off in this particular omnibus. And it's a hell of a ride. And there's so much going on. Now, I'm not going to talk about too many spoilers, but there are a couple of things I need to mention. Number one, this isn't that big of a deal because it's comics, but in the previous volume, the Fantastic Four lost one of its key core members. So one of the family members ends up losing their life in the previous book. Now, if you read comics long enough, you know to just wait around on that imaginary watch that I'm wearing. Wait around on that clock and see, okay, when is so-and-so coming back? It's about time, right? We used to have a saying in the comic book world, and it doesn't even mean that much. We used to say, oh man, that dude is Bucky dead. That was before Ed Brubaker's Winter Soldier story. That's how we knew somebody was dead. I think that term has now been changed to, oh yeah, man, that dude is Uncle Ben dead. Or, we used to call it Bucky dead or Gwen Stacy dead. But, we didn't include multiverses or different dimension returns. But anyway, back to this. This is the complete payoff of the Fantastic Four. In the aftermath of that big event that happened where one of the members loses their lives, they started a new series. So Jonathan Hickman started this series called FF, which became the Future Foundation. And it's pretty much the kids. And oh my gosh, that's what makes this so good is the kids and the way that he handles writing them. Now, I didn't get a copy of the first volume, so I can't compare my first volume, but I am going to be comparing this particular volume here in a little bit to volume 2. And you start seeing how big of a role these kids have. And it almost gets to be a little too much just because of this doom that is coming to Earth. And I don't mean Doctor Doom. I mean the huge war that is coming to Earth. And everybody has to fight against this big impending doom that's coming, including Doctor Doom. And the Future Foundation also has other members that end up joining. Here we have some Steve Epting artwork. Juan Bobillo actually ends up drawing some of the stuff here for the Future Foundation. So yes, the Council of Reeds to figure out exactly what is coming to Earth. They're going to have some alliances with characters that probably they shouldn't be aligning themselves with. But when you have this much at stake, the entire world, you just have to do what you have to do. I always found it funny when Reed is delivering this speech. You are the very best this world has to offer. And Gravity's over here like, yo, I think I walked into the wrong meeting. I need to get out of here. I actually liked Sean McKeever's Gravity. I just didn't know anybody else did. So it was really cool that, I think he was in the Beyond series. It was cool to see Hickman use the character. There's Ronan the Accuser. And this all takes place too after Annihilation, Conquest, after the War of the Kings story arcs, where it kind of changes some of the status quo for not just the Kree, but also the Inhumans. So just showcasing some more of the artwork. There is one particular moment in here that I think, to me at least, is worth the price of admission. And, oh my god. It is a beautiful quote towards the ending of one particular story that just moves me every freaking time. Here, let me showcase some artwork. Just sticking towards the very front to show off this amazing artwork, because there are some spoilers in here I don't want to talk about or I want to get away from. But you're going to see some characters join the Fantastic Four. You're going to see some of them join the Future Foundation, like Spider-Man joining the Fantastic Four. And then other characters you wouldn't expect to join the Fantastic Four on this huge fight that's coming. But the quote, yes, the quote I think best summarizes what this whole book is about. And that is, for if we live, there's hope. And if we hope, then there's tomorrow. And if tomorrow, then forever. Oh my gosh. That freaking quote just, especially with what's going on in the story, it just brings me to tears. Just even thinking about it is such a beautiful message and really breaks down exactly what this story is about. Yes, there's this overall arc that he's been building even before this, even if you go back and look at just a little bit of his Secret Warriors. And that's what he does. He lays the future foundation, if you will, of story arcs in everything that he does. But that quote summarizes what this is really about. And it is perfection. So I'm going to skip some pages. So you're talking about multiverse, you're talking about different dimension type of characters. And of course, this is all leading into a big event called the Secret Wars. Now, that is not the original Secret Wars, but the 2015 Secret Wars, where the entire Marvel Universe collides in this one big event. There's several villains and heroes that kind of cross over from the Ultimate Universe, because the Ultimate Universe just ceases to exist after that event. So all of this leads into that. And really, all of this leads into Hickvengers. It's just, there are things that happen in Avengers by Jonathan Hickman that you would appreciate a lot more had you read his Fantastic Four run. And then after that, of course, Secret Wars. So there's actually a reading order to Jonathan Hickman's Marvel stories. I mean, it all starts off with... honestly, I always suggest reading the S.H.I.E.L.D., the very first S.H.I.E.L.D. series that he did. It's only 4 issues. And then, of course, Secret Warriors, then Fantastic Four, then move over to his Ultimates, which a lot of people forget about. I would read that before reading Avengers, because he also did the Ultimate Thor miniseries. And then, of course, wrapping it up with Secret Wars. Because I don't think House and Powers of X really fit into that era. I mean, outside of Mr. Sinister. So... there is an amazing story in here, and really showcases the relationship between Reed Richards and his buddy Ben Grimm, and why two people that are not similar at all, that are so different, why they are best of friends. That's another tearjerker, man. Damn you, Jonathan Hickman. That is a good story, because it does remind you, like, pick up the phone and call your friends, man. You may miss them. Like, it's just, things happen in life, and you're always going to be busy. There's always going to be excuses. But I think, that's why I love comics. They remind me to take a better look at my own life and myself, to make me a better person. Okay, not all the stories, right? Like, trouble. Anyway, but this is Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 2. You have this huge war that's coming to Earth. Celestial beings get involved. There is a kick-ass scene between Galactus and some Celestials. You can find out for yourself. Oh, a few surprises. And here's a nice little Easter egg. You would appreciate the history of the Marvel Universe, the actual comic by Mark Waid, a lot more if you had read this run too. Because there's a lot of things, especially at the beginning of that feed off of this particular book. But let's look at the extras, because one thing you may have noticed is very typical of Jonathan Hickman. This is the way that, at least I've heard, this is what he does. And it has to be, because this is the way that he does even his East of West or Nightly News, is he doesn't like putting covers in between the chapters. He puts just the collected chapter name. So this one's called Future Foundation, Volume 2, The Supremer's Seed. And then there are no covers in between the chapters, in between the issues. All the covers are intact in the back. So all the covers, including the variant covers, including this wonderful, I've always been a fan of that particular Joe Quesada and Danny Mickey piece of art right there. And I don't think these have any spoilers at all, because some of them are just ridiculous things that they were just drawing, just based on whatever event was, or story, or whoever was popular at the time. I forgot Mike Choi does some of this stuff too. He draws a couple issues, and I really enjoy his stuff, mainly because of his X-Force run with Kyle and Yost. There's Frank Cho's art. Some Ryan Stegman also comes in here. That's Mark Bagley. That didn't even look like Mark Bagley, because the inks are done by Andy Lanning. That's right, Andy Lanning, part of DNA. He's been an inker for a long time. There's some Steve Epting painted artwork right there. Love these kids of the Future Foundation. But I'm not going to show all the covers. You can find out for yourself what covers are in there. But I did want to point out the fact that the covers are intact. They're just all the way in the back. So don't expect them. Don't think that they're missing. They are back there. Now, as far as the binding of this book, 832 pages. Not much of an eye there. It's not too big. So when it was laying over, it's a little bit of a gutter curve right there. So you do lose just a little bit of the artwork. Let's look in the back here. Can't show really any of the spread pages in the last few stories because they're spoilers, to kind of give you an idea of how it lays over. Alright, so let's do a quick comparison. This one here is printed at the Donnelly printer, the new book, which is the exact same place that the original printing was printed on. As far as the paper quality, I'll be 100% honest with you. Maybe this paper right here has a slicker feel to it than this. I mean, they're both glossy. They're both not the thickest. because you can see some of the art come through here as well as here. You're probably wondering why I say these things. If I find it, right? Because it does bother some people. It doesn't bother others. Now, yes, this, yeah, like I said, it has a slicker feel to it, but honestly, I don't know. Usually I can tell if something's a lot thinner than the previous paper. Donnelly seems to have thicker paper than the iMac printer in Turkey. But what I wanted to do is focus more on the differences in the art. This one here, it just seems to be a little bit darker, my first printing, than the new printing. Not very much. Everything else, colors are still really bright and beautiful on both editions. But just some of the blacks look a little bit darker on my copy. And just showcasing how they both lay over. The original printing at the top and the new printing at the bottom. But that, as they say, is that. If you are interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below which cover you're going to get, if you're going to get this book, if you've read these stories, if you're upgrading, if you've been waiting years for this particular reprint. I would love to know all those comments down below. If you have any more questions, please ask them down below. Thank you to our existing patrons for making videos like this possible, and thank you all for watching. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.